It's always the one that messes me up a little bit, because since we changed the 2 bans, like the red side gets pick, ban, and then pick. So they just do a lot of stuff like in a row.
I thought you were learning Chinese midway through the game.
I was. I now know what ace looks like. It looks like the little the circle, the square in the middle, and then.
That sounds like a lot of different characters. Let's move off of this topic now. We're getting Jarvan, which, I was saying, okay, Jarvan, again, one of the most highly prioritized jungles in the patch right now, or in competitive. But AL get Ashe Seraphine, and there are still tons of things like, not Pantheon, but things like Xin Zhao, especially.
Xin
you can still go for Nefiri, you can go for Qiyana here, all things that Tarzan, I think, has performed really, really admirably. And now, what is going to be the answer? Is this going to be Corki Karma? Is this going to be Yunara Karma? We're getting Jhin from Elk. Okay, so Elk, obviously a great AD carry player, but this means that while the lane can try to equalize, both of these bot lanes are going to kind of be we're going to push them off to the side for right now, and we're kind of looking for what is going to be the accentuation points for both of these drafts. What are the solo lanes going to bring that make these 2 pairs really, really strong and shine?
Sign for Flandre just makes a lot of sense here, other than the fact that they give away Xin Zhao, which will now likely be banned away in this second rotation. Just works so well with the Seraphine, but still a lot of options for Tarzan to go to as we enter this second half of the draft, which AL will be picking first out of after the fact. The Sion pick into the Jhin, always a bit of a feels bad moment. You're really going to need Zika to play a shredder up in the top side if they want this composition to work well.
Trying to look at what he still has options. The most popular one has kind of been, I know a lot of people are playing Jace, which is just not my cup of tea, at least. Yeah, there you go. So we can't even play Jace into Sion. This is already getting better for Weibo. By all means, we can still look for things. Maybe this might be a melee mid coming in for Xiaohu. I mean, I just think with Jarvan, there's so many aggressive, different champions you can play.
Silas.
Ahri does kind of start to come through. You can play Talia, but honestly, when you have Ashe Seraphine, once you get out of lane where they can kind of outstat you, you can blow them up very easily. So even things like a LeBlanc could start to take some kind of possibility here in this draft. But right now, I think AL have such a solid front line. Sion with Ashe Seraphine, I think by itself is good enough for you. And so you can continue to build in.
2 proposals for Weibo here.
Okay.
You either, go something like Jax and start just split pushing the hell out of this team, making sure that AL never get a chance to 5v5. Or maybe slightly similarly, Zika hasn't played it this year, but he's 28-12 in his career on Camille. If you slam Camille Galio here, you just try to immediately get your hands onto Hope in the backline. We talk about this being the Unk team. That's sure 2017 strats coming into fruition. Looks like we're going to look things a little bit differently, though. Sion's got a lot of crowd control. What better to play against it than an Olaf slam for Zika?
Wow, we're playing Olaf top into this. I mean, there is so much possibility for this to go very right for them. I think you have a Jarvan and an Olaf that can run straight into the back line, kill an Annie, kill an Ashe Seraphine, and then that kind of starts to make some really good trades. Also, Jhin from long range, if Olaf is sending it with Jarvan, he just throws a Deadly Flourish, throws Curtain Call, and kind of things start to open up for them, and Syndra gives them a lot of aggressive looks. We're going for Mel instead. I mean, reflect an Ashe ultimate. Hell yes, sign me up, Weibo. Don't get me excited now. Please don't get me excited. I don't want to feel the hope. I've already been drained.
It's part of, well, wow, okay. It's part of a takeaway here as well.
That was you,
for Tarzan. You don't want the Olaf to be paired alongside the Ashe Seraphine. We saw, a team, I think it was JDG, play that against BLG in the playoffs last split, and it worked very well. I kind of like what Weibo have to offer, but we still have to wait and see. There's a lot of tools that are going to be used to counter this Anyone's Legend composition, but I think overall, AL got the better 5 champions in terms of their place in the meta at this point.
Alright, so I've talked a lot about what Weibo want to do. They obviously have a lot of engage. They want to be able to run at their opponents. I do think there's some dyssynergy between Jarvan and Olaf, but we'll get to that when we see it in game. AL, however, they have a lot of upfront crowd control and setup. My worry now is that I don't think Wukong was the pick here for Tarzan. I think Wukong is too slow in the early game to kind of get this team started. And as a composition that is so reliant on your ultimates, and especially kind of trying to get away with some greedier solo lanes here, especially with the Annie, I'm worried that if AL at any point trip and stumble, this team is going to run out of damage very, very quickly. And you are not going to have the time in this game to bounce back. I want to see EAL start off with some early dragons, set themselves up for success early so they don't have to rely on a fallback plan of catch someone out on side lanes or hope that someone from Weibo walks out of position before a big fight.
If I'm Weibo, I'm spam ganking bot. I'm leaving Zika a little bit alone because he's going to be able to do fine against the Scion, and you send Jiejie down there against two immobile carries in the Ashe Seraphine that can really turn online if the game gets too late. Start that snowball rolling with the bottom lane. Maybe even send Xiaohu down there as well on the Mel. That's going to be the recipe for success, in my opinion, if you're Weibo Gaming, who are trying to break this streak in the regular season against AL.
Weibo fans, I'm going to try not to get too excited until I see that Nexus explode. I'm not going to trust. It is a fun draft. I agree.
Got us talking about, like, you know, late game planning, early game planning. What was definitely going to be the case here is as well, you know, Xiaohu on the Mel. A lot of early wave clear against Shanks, who is just going to be throwing out Qs left and right. Yep. Maybe we see some impacts here as well from him.
Junglers are starting on the same sides, all of them heading down bottom side. And
oh, look at Jiejie.
We've seen this heal. Oh my god, Jiejie, he's going to get spotted out on the ward.
Spotted on the ward.
I mean, it's Wukong early. Yeah, Wukong is not allowed to do this right now. You are level 2 Jarvan and you have red buff. Beat him over the head with that standard and yeah, push him off all of these topside waves. Yes, I love this. Jiejie, if he is smart, he will finish these wolves for Tarzan and then move immediately into, or try to take a recall and walk into bottom side. He's not going to even finish his... What are we doing, Jarvan?
Second wave got crashed a little bit here by Shanks, and Xiaohu losing out on that mid push that we thought would have worked very well for the side of Weibo. And because of that, Jiejie misses out on the wolves, but still should be able to get towards the ground, albeit a little bit decelerated.
Okay. So this is okay. It does mean that Zika is not necessarily going to get any kind of attention from enemy jungle. I'm mostly laughing because they do this new thing where they show what champions, the skins that they're playing, but it apparently seems like LPL doesn't have all of that correctly loaded into their system. But Tarzan now gets to invade. He gets to take blue buff, which now he'll have the timer for later. And again, it is Wukong, right? Like, Wukong doesn't typically have very many avenues to gank early, but Ashe Seraphine set up impossible things to happen for you.
And Weibo are so focused on just getting this bot push that they don't even try to check that Tarzan is doing that. And it looks like it will be a rude awakening for Jiejie once he arrives to his bottom side jungle, with the crab spawning momentarily. Things looking pretty good for Tarzan, despite him being that early game Wukong pre-6. You really don't have a ton of power, as you mentioned. But he's been able to stay even here in this matchup against Jiejie.
Something that is going to continuously come up as a reoccurring theme, and we'll track it throughout the game as best as we can, but AL, we talk about the utility of a lot of these champions. I might have to hold this as we see a 3-on-3 happening here. I mean, they know they crossed over this ward.
They read Tarzan, or Jiejie, like a book at this point. He's been on so many wards. It's not going to matter right now because the level 3 Jarvan does have a lot of power, with Tarzan at 60% HP, and without many summoner spells available for the bot lane. Weibo now have an opportunity to go on the aggressive with Jiejie and Hong. Not going to contest this red buff though, but they do force the bot lane to respond, which is going to allow for Elk to get a free wave. Now Jiejie makes his way towards the mid lane, just here on a bit of a cross-country journey. Not going to look for the gank, instead just trying to find that second crab.
So, the thing I was going to say is that the utility of AL's composition, one of the things that you get to do is, with Ashe, now that she's level 3, you're going to have Hawkshot, and you're going to have perfect information on enemy jungle pathing and their camp timers, which is really important, because wherever that Hawkshot goes, that can confirm where Jiejie is. Whether it sees him or not is a different question, but really important for AL to kind of track where Jarvan can be to potentially mess up some of Weibo's plans. And as we've seen, Jiejie, despite some of these early invades not going as well as they would have wanted to, it is all about information gathering. And if you can steal or trip up this Wukong early, that could blow open an early game that'll give Weibo a lead. It hasn't worked for them quite yet, but all it takes is one win for them to make it really good.
Well, we could be going for a dive here. Hope does have his barrier and the flash. flashes over the flag and Dragon. Hong's going to take turret aggro. That is a trade 1-for-1, but it will be Weibo securing first blood, albeit on their support.
Look, AD carry didn't get to hit that wave. Both of the supports are the ones that get the kills for this. And Kael's on vision.
Yeah, and he didn't flash away from that Flag and Dragon time. Very low on mana, and Jiejie has a Conqueror proc. There is the bouncing grenade from Elk, and it's 2-1 for the Weibros.
All right, so Jiejie is going to give up some camps. He's going to lose his respawn raptors, which Tarzan is also going to get on his side of the map. But they got a wave and a half. They're able to get the plate there for Jin and start off with a 400 gold lead here for Elk. I think that is a good enough trade. I just wonder what this is going to mean for those Dragons. Once they come back, it should mean that AO will have priority, and it'll kind of come down to whether or not Tarzan can get back onto the map fast enough, as he still hasn't taken his recall.
What do we say though, Elk? Gank bot. If you are Weibo Gaming, Jiejie has certainly sacrificed some of his camps to do so, but you got to be pretty happy overall if you are Weibo Gaming with how this early game has gone. Now, a dive could be in the works towards the bottom lane, but Flandre clears that wave out nicely with the Decimating Smash, and it means that Weibo will instead send Jiejie down to this Gromp to steal it away.
And wait, is it going to leash back in time? So it'll go down to 1200. Tarzan's probably going to see Jiejie finishing this. Oh no. Okay, 80 gold. 80 gold to Jiejie. We do not leave the game. Okay, he's not level 6 yet, which is really hilarious. Also, yeah, Tarzan, by the way, he already has the upgraded smite. So if it really was going to come down to it, if Tarzan wanted it, he would have taken it.
Now it's going to be contested around this red buff. See, now you're at the point where the Wukong maybe doesn't win the duel unless the full Flag and Drag combo connects. A teleport on top of a ward that Tarzan plays is going to send Flandre not to the top lane, but to the red buff, because that's where the action really happens between these two teams, it seems.
Zika's like, do I have to lean for this? And Jiejie is like, please. Please lean for this.
If he loses the red buff, it feels so bad.
Yeah, because he's going to hit level 5. This does mean that Tarzan is getting closer to having access to that ultimate. And with no flash for Elk, potentially that's going to be something that they look for. Remember, all of his jungle camps are going to start to spawn on the bottom side. They have the timer for the enemy raptors from Jiejie, and they'll know when those spawn. So it's kind of a point of, do we want to go bottom lane, or do we want to continue the jungle farm fest that has continued to open up here? Tarzan already up basically 3 camps all by himself. And also no dragon early on. I was really hoping that we would see AL play for it, but some early invades from Jiejie, especially like we just saw there, kind of tie up and slow down the plans of AL.
It means that this bot lane's able to get decently far ahead. Elk and Hong in a good position. One of the few lanes with this amount of poke that can, out-duel a Ashe Seraphine in the 2v2. And they will finally get their way over to the dragon and take it down. See the Ragnarok being popped here for Zika just to get away from the knockup. Trying to just crash this wave as Flandre's done a good job playing weak side and not going down just yet.
Playing in Olaf is so interesting because there's a ton of options, I think, for tank players to go for. This time, Flandre opted for the Swifty boots, which might look weird when you think about what the top side is going to look like, and you might say, like, oh, hey, getting a plated steel caps is really good, but I know you're a Scion player, and I feel like having the slow resist versus Olaf means that he doesn't just run you down if you're in the middle of the lane.
All you have to do in this lane is just not die pre-6. If you die pre-6, it's pretty cooked. Take a look. Both top laners.
That sounds like a lot of top lane matchups, actually.
That is fair, but Olaf is one that can certainly take advantage, and you could see it working out so far. Flandre goes for the early Bramble Vest. He's going to be issuing reduced healing to Zika now, even when he procs the W. Yep. And all of a sudden, this just becomes a wave clear war, and Sion is completely happy with that in this situation.
How disgusting is this, by the way? Look at our top laners' inventories. Double refillable, 3 cookies.
3 biscuits.
Why did we take the cookies? If in theory, you're thinking, okay, if we fight to the death and I get my cookies, we're chilling. But if we have 3 cookies at 9 minutes...
We get free boots? I guess you don't want free boots if you're Sion. You want to rush those, but Zika could have definitely gotten some.
Yeah.
Or just some extra cash. I mean, that's always a good
cash
thing,
back.
No? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, triple cookies ends up not really working for us, so... no punish, I guess, for both of these teams. Tarzan's going to look mid, does have ultimate now.
Yeah, this is the one lane that really is gankable if you are anyone's legend, but Xiaohu knows that and plays very safe as a result. Also has his flash available, so looks like it will not be too much given over on the Weibo side.
You know what I just noticed? Usually when we talk about Ashe in pro play games, a lot of the times, we even saw it, I think, earlier here tonight, in the top esports series, where if you have Ashe in Fog of War, you can just pop ultimate from across the map and sometimes either get a summoner spell or kill someone if it lands. But versus Mel, versus Olaf, you really don't have the ability to do that. At least it's not super easy to do so. Olaf has his ultimate, Mel can reflect it, and it comes out even faster at you if it does. So there's actually limited ability for Ashe to really find purchase, especially because there's a cleanse here for Elk.
That's why we really like this team composition for Weibo. We might see it in action again in a 3v3, but a really nice job by Kael landing that encore to delay the engage. Oh, flash over. The deadly flourish for Tarzan. He's looking for the Cyclone onto Hong, but unable to find him. And whoa! Xiaohu just one-shots Shanks in the bottom side river before he even arrives to the fight. Curtain call opens up, 4-shot lands onto Tarzan, and he will be taken down. It's a double kill for the Tiger of Weibo, and they will be able to push down bottom lane and hold a 1,500 gold lead.
Watching that fight, I mean, Elk had great target prioritization. Just goes right onto Hope, who got the boots instead of any real damage. Only has a pickaxe, and Elk right there just moves right in onto Kael. A kill immediately. Weibo now have 2,000, and they're going to get more. Elk is going to get even more fed here. Look at his items. He's got a BF sword.
He stops the base, too, of Hope. He's going to have to clear this wave out. Another plate, delaying the eventual reset timers for AL. Let's take a look at how this one started. It was a good, ulti from Kael.
I don't know. Actually, when I see this, it's only onto one person, and part of the strength of this duo is that any slow that Hope puts down, it's an immediate lockup with the Seraphine and the Ashe. But yeah, Shanks just walks in, doesn't see Xiaohu there, and then I love the patience from Elk, waiting for the 4-shot because Tarzan has to walk into some kind of crowd control there. So a double kill here for Xiaohu. More kills going over to Elk, who has a Storm Razor. It's not a lot of damage up front, but once he gets to 3 and 4 items, and we're looking at later game team fights, the Jhin is going to be really hard to lock down.
The problem with Jhin, often in compositions and competitive, is that if you don't get out to an early lead, you feel very useless until about 40 minutes. Take a look at the gold. Elk is doing pretty good in this game. He's going to hurt, especially against this squishy bottom lane 2v2. Flandre is going to be okay against him for the time being, but he's not going to be involved in some of these fights for at least 10 minutes or so. And by that point, we might have 3 items on the Jhin.
Well, it's going well for Weibo, but what did we say coming out of draft here, Grapes? We said if AL are behind, if they're struggling to find picks and wins early, if they don't have the first couple of dragons in the game, suddenly the damage starts to run out, and that becomes a big issue for them. So I want to see how AL are going to problem solve here in this scenario. It kind of feels bad, right? Because we're talking about this top lane matchup and the Olaf being really exciting. They have not really interacted too much with each other. And Sion's pressing tab, and he's like, oh crap, my stat check bot lane is not winning. My mid jungle haven't been able to generate a ton of pressure. And all I'm doing is trading waves versus Olaf, who, sure, he's not winning the individual matchup. He's going to run into my backline later into the game, and I'm going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly a play for the team fight situation now for Weibo. You have the empowered Olaf with the Karma, using the Mantra Shields on top of him with the Ragnarok. I mean, that is a scary sight, even if he was 3,000 gold down, not just 300. Full Stride Breaker unlocked as well to slow down the mites of AL. And take a look at just the way this composition is structured from Weibo. Very smart, especially after what was maybe a questionable draft in game number 1. Looks like Coach Kim certainly getting his get back here as the Dragon's been started up.
Thank God, because that game 1 draft was kind of playable, but it was a player diff at that point. I won't blame Kim for this. Looks like that dragon that I wanted to see from AL is going to be started. There's a huge flank from this Olaf.
This is the team fight that Weibo wanted. There's the Cataclysm immediately onto Kael. And the first shot of the curtain call takes him down, but it gets canceled by Tarzan, who jumps in with a Cyclone, but he will fall as well. It is a 2-for-0, soon to potentially be 3, but Jiejie misses the Dragon Strike, and Shanks is able to flash on out. Deadly Flourish doesn't connect either, but there is the trap to do so. 3 kills in favor of Weibo, and they didn't even play it that well.
I was surprised that Jiejie even healed that much. Yes, it's Sundered Sky, but it was against Thornmail. He just healed up a ton from Sion walking in. They're not able to find that. That's 2 dragons going over to Weibo. 4,500 gold. If we look back at the fight, there were a lot of questionable positioning choices coming in. I mean, look at this. Elk opens up the ultimate, and Ashe is walking into him this entire time. The Ashe ultimate, who does it land on? It lands on the Hung. The damage from AL is not concentrated. You need to shotgun 1 player, 1 or 2 members, but this fight is just spread out, and Weibo take advantage of it. So, it has been so long since we've seen Jhin Trap kill anybody. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? Remember those old YouTube videos where you play AP Jhin and you lay like 4,000 traps in one little bush and then just get one shot? Oh, those are the good
And you
old
just
days.
like deadly flourish them, and then boom,
yeah.
explosion.
I think it was you're playing fish. You're going fishing, right? You just wait for someone to show up, and then boom, throw that W.
That's
over
why I
there.
love the community. They always come up with like fun stuff. Like Jin, obviously, I think it's funny. Actually, now we mentioned this, Jin. If long time maybe League fans know of the speed. Legendary video talking about Jin with like full movement speed.
Yep.
This was also during Erha, but I was talking to producer Ilya about this, and I was like, "Do you know the speed Jin build?" And he was like, "No, I've never heard of that." And I was like, "What? That's like foundational League YouTube content."
Oh, the good old days, right? Now we just get co-stream discussions. Anyway, bot lane fight. Xiaohu gonna get knocked up by Flandre as AL try to make some answer here in response to the Herald going down. Looks like they should be able to find it without anybody going down as well. Flandre, albeit not very strong in terms of damage, is very tanky, and they will allow the Mel to go down. It's a shutdown for the Wukong.
3 grubs as well, so they're going to look to trade 1 to 2 turrets here, but Olaf is still pushing. No one's matching him. The Herald in mid is going to at least deal some damage. 2 plates go over, and while Weibo won't grab the mid-tier 1 on this push, still think this is a favorable trade here, and we'll have to watch where the gold goes, because that was a kill going over to Tarzan. But do we think that Wukong is the most important member or the champion that's going to change this game for them? That I am I am a bit dubious on.
It seems like a composition that would scale for AL, but I mean, it scales pretty well on Weibo's side too. When you have a Jin waiting in the wings, and Xiaohu can just reflect any of the big ultis that the bot lane Hope and Kael can issue. Not to mention, you got Jiejie against 4 mobiles. I mean, this is, in general, a really great answer. I mean, I know we keep talking about the draft, but Weibo needed a way to get back into this series, and they absolutely found a formula that is going to work for them here.
All right. We're 2 minutes from a dragon. We got 3 minutes till Baron. You're very worried as AL if there's ever a Baron being started because, again, you have great ways of starting fights, of getting in. Kael, if he can land a massive beat drop, then I think the entire game kind of changes. But your ability to actually like threaten a Baron, you know, to say, hey, we're going to start this objective and you need to come answer, is very low. Particularly because Hope is kind of behind at this point, and typically with the Hex Optics build, you're going for PD second, so your individual damage is not going to be very high until 3 and 4. And like we had mentioned, we don't really want to have that kind of fight when you're playing against Jin.
No undertow, no problem here for Zika. My goodness! Xiaohu just gets eviscerated as now he's got to fight in the mid lane as well. Tarzan trying to hunt down the Olaf. Second flash alongside the Cyclone should be able to take him down. So an extended 1-for-1, but it was fun.
Yeah, and Zika did kind of give over some gold. That goes into Hope's pocket, so feels good as AL. You did trade 1-for-1, but when you're down 3,500 gold, that is still going to be a favorable transition for you. Didn't really lose all that much. It was Tarzan having to flash, which will make engaging onto someone like Elk or Xiaohu a little bit tougher. We're going to be walking into the next dragon right now, and it is completely lit up with wards. Because of that play, Kael didn't really have the time to move and put down vision. So this is going to be an uphill battle where Weibo are going to be looking at Dragon Soul Point.
You wonder if this is a fight that AL want to take. Right now, Olaf doesn't have the Hex Plate. It's only 1 item on Jiejie. Not a second item completed for Xiaohu either, but it's not like AL is particularly strong in their own right. You have 2 items on Flandre, but he is just a Scion at this point. Slowing down Elk with Dragon spawning in 13. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Elk
he presses
will
W
kill the other
and
champions, and it's fine.
It's Stormrazor RFC Jin. He's just sitting there. He puts the full combo on him, and Flandre's like, hello? He's like looking around like John Travolta from Pulp Fiction. Yep. Looks like we're not going to do it. I think AL, no. Let's make the cross map. I've been really happy with teams that are just willing to play around plates. You have 3 grubs for crying out loud, and Riot put a lot of gold back into the game with the amount of turret plates that are available right now. So this will cut into some of that gold lead, but as we've mentioned, now every dragon is a must fight here for anyone's legend. It is Hex Soul, and you do not want to play against that versus this composition from Weibo.
I mean, think about all the long range that already exists. If you add little lightning crash on top of it.
And the slow.
Yeah.
Nope.
Now here's the thing. I'm curious what you think.
What's up?
It's Soul Point, obviously, to play on these dragons for your AL. We talked so much about how the composition just doesn't really stack up in terms of the individual matchups. What do AL have to do to win a team fight? Is it just finding a pick onto somebody like Jiejie before a fight breaks out, or what's the move here?
I think Jiejie is a very reasonable target. I think Elk or Hong is kind of the only two people that you really have, especially Hong. If he's ever out of position, I hope that his Mikhails is on a quick bind for him, because this first item is really OP for getting other players out, and if he can time it right, he can even cleanse himself. But those are kind of the picks that you're looking for, especially if we can get the shutdown gold. 500 on Elk's head, that's a massive amount of the lead, and you also take out one of the strongest members when it comes to their DPS potential here for Weibo. So we have to find something, but I think because this mid-tier one is down, and particularly the side lanes, look at this! We're ulting! Where's the rest of your damage? I think they were waiting. I don't want to blame Hope there, because he's thinking, okay, my Annie's in Raptor Pit, she's going to flash ult, but that's a bit of a missing, like, we're not coordinated from AL.
Yeah. To be fair, 3 minutes of the drag spawns, I don't think you're going to take Baron off of just burning Ashe ulti.
Oh, for sure. Weibo, yeah, but just kill this guy. Where's my mid laner?
Not the end of the world, but yeah, very disrespectful from Elk, and he doesn't actually end up getting punished for it. So that feels a little bit bad if you are Hope, who found what should have been a pretty good opportunity to try to get back into this game. You see the shutdowns on both him and Jiejie. Big sums of cash that are ready to be cashed in if AL are able to find an opportunity, find a comeback. Remember, they have not 2-1'd any team this season. Every single one of their 6 series has just been 2 games. So their total game score, 6-6, 3-3 in match score. But Weibo's looking to try and change that narrative here, as they are definitely in position to send us to a game 3.
Okay, so I mean, taking a look, we've kind of gone over a lot of the win conditions or potential ways that we could see AL try to come back. Right now it is a fight over Raptor Pit. We have Annie coming in from a sort of a flank off of Vision, is going to get spotted by this single Jin Trap here. Wondering if there's any kind of potential. Ashe Ultimate is off of cooldown right now. Zika is not going to be able to TP into this, and Flandre has his available, which will make him very beefy with that role quest.
Do have some item spikes coming in. Not too bad, all things considered, for AL. Phantom Dancer here for Hope. You got a Sunder Sky in for Tarzan. Maybe an opportunity now for anyone's Legends to go on the offensive. They land the stun onto Jiejie. Tibbers comes out as well. The Cataclysm does get issued in response, and Xiaohu just eliminates the Monkey King. And Zika has come in with the teleport as well. Hong gets chunked low but will not fall, and here comes the Ragnarok, as it is Doomsday here for Hope. He gets absolutely eliminated by this Viking King. A double kill in for Zika, and he's looking for a whole lot more. Forces a flash away from Shanks, and that will be the team fight win over to Weibo Gaming.
It is the end of times for AL. A Baron's gonna get taken. Hong, if you walk up and die, I'm gonna laugh. I'm sorry. There's no hard feelings here. This is gonna be the Elder, or the Baron, and guess what? That's probably gonna be the Soul in a minute's time, especially with how the lanes are set up. This was the engage that we needed to see. An amazing Mikhails saves Jiejie. I love these ultimates that we've been seeing from him. He doesn't need to use it as like a, I'm going to stay in here. It's merely, I'm going to trap you and then flag and drag out and then move to the next target. And with some of those spells already gone, Zika gets to just run straight in his backline as this Olaf, exactly how we wrote it up in the draft. And now it's all about how can we close out from Weibo Gaming.
We've seen things look better and better for Weibo as Split number 2 has gone on. We said it at the start of Split 1. They're a team that's going to ramp up into the end of the season, as we saw with a top 3 finish in Split 1. Now, just got to finish this game off, and they'll have a big win against one of the top contenders. And Hope, without a flash, is just absolutely toast. Elk ends up taking him down, but there's 2 teleports coming back on the other side, and Jiejie is very low. Uses the flag and drag onto Shanks, but Zika has already taken down the Seraphine. Xiaohu gets Tarzan on the back line, and that just might about do it. It's a double kill into the hands of Elk. Dragon has spawned, but there's no soul needed for Weibo to end this game. Gonna take a while to take Flandre down, but everybody on Weibo Gaming is here to finish it off. That's an ace, and that should be a push down bot lane to try to end the game.
Hextech Soul, and like you mentioned, still have the Baron for the next 1 minute and 40 seconds. That was a really, really tight sequence there from Jiejie. The immediate flash ultimate onto Hope. Take him out first. He gets the healing from the Sundered Sky onto Shanks before barely living. And 10,000 gold now. Weibo, I don't want to say we're back, but we're on the way to the spine. We're making our way to being back.
At the very least. It was 27 minutes in terms of victory for AL in Game 1. We're getting close to that here in Game 2, but Weibo surely look like they're in control. They know that they're so in control that they're not super eager to try to end the game and potentially throw off of the back timers or the respawn timers. So they're just going to take the soul for themselves. We talked about how powerful the Hex Tech is going to be. They still have 1 minute left on this Baron buff, even after going for these resets.
Damn. And, you know, that'll just expound their lead. They're about 6,000 gold up thanks to this Baron. Sion's going to ult forward.
There's the choo-choo train. Big front line here, but the Kael gets him away from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Deadly Flourish lands onto Flandre, and all of a sudden, this tank Sion not looking tanky anymore. There's the Cataclysm into the backline. Shanks gets eliminated, and another clean ace is in the works for Weibo Gaming. Anyone's Legends have only had 2 game series this entire season, but Weibo gonna buck that trend. They'll push down mid and send us to a decider here.
Did you see how fast Elk was moving? Storm Razor, Fleet Footwork, this is the scaling setup if you're looking to play long. Like you mentioned, Weibo are gonna send us to 3. It could only really go this way, honestly, between these two. We've got a tied set here at 1 apiece.
Just as quickly as Weibo took or fell in game number 1, they win in game number 2. So, despite it being a 3-game series, been rather quick so far, which is you know, good for maybe our producers, but maybe not good for us because we want to see some closer games. It's been one-sided both ways.
Look, it's not a 6-0 day. I'm sorry to all of our mods and especially our producer Shivam here tonight. It's not going to be 6 games. It's going to be 7, which I really wanted to avoid those numbers. Nope. Put those away.
You started it. You started it like last night. Well, we can get into the lore a little bit later.
I'm not taking responsibility for this. This is not my fault. Kind of like it wasn't AL's game to win. We saw a lot of early invades. We thought it was going to be more like game 1. Where Jiejie keeps invading and doesn't really find anything, and then Weibo kind of just meander around and probably take 1 bad fight, but we played a lot around bottom side. Elk and Hung played a very good 2v2 that was obviously set up by their jungle, and AL's kind of burst composition, pick composition, never got to keep going.
Yeah, it's drafting masterclass by Coach Kim and for Weibo. This is the the BLG comp, right? That AL set up for themselves. The Ashe Seraphine, you get a big beefy boy in the top lane and a strong jungler. And Weibo had a great answer to it. I mean, perhaps it makes sense that they have an answer to it because they've seen BLG just dominate everybody when playing that sort of composition. So smart on them to be prepared for it this time. Practice against AL. Maybe next time it'll be against BLG.
This is why I hate this Annie champion. This champion is so overrated and has very few winning matchups, and we have just seen... I'm actually kind of surprised that Annie is losing as much as she is, just because I would think in a meta where everybody and their mother is playing Proto Belt or Rocket Belt first, this champion should be OP, right? Flash, Rocket Belt, boom, I'm stunning your entire backline from half a screen away, and there's nothing you can do about it. Usually, you have to pay a lot in a champion to get that kind of kit, but she has not been succeeding. She doesn't side lane very well, and I really think like this 4-5 from Weibo was just excellent. I got worried about the Jhin. I'll just be very frank about it, but Mel, Olaf completely neutralize basically the bottom half of AL's composition.
Yeah, and there was a lot of tools utilized to make sure that Elk and Hong had a good time in the lane, right? Jiejie spent almost the entirety of his early game down there. Even Xiaohu, right here, going for a roam down bottom, eliminating Xiaohu before he could even get a chance to throw Tibbers down onto the Jhin Karma. Talked about how he wanted to see a bounce back for the Weibo bottom lane. They had it, but it was with the help of the rest of their team as well.
This kill onto Shanks was also massive for AL, because if Shanks walks into this fight, maybe they can turn him. I mean, look at Hong and Jiejie's health bars in that fight. Could have been something that they used to get back into this game. Man, Jarvan diving onto Seraphine never gets old. And Xiaohu just gets to play a very slow game. He does not have to do very much. He does not have to like jump in as Aurora or Azir or Ryze. He can very comfortably, as you say, issue commands like a great general and win the game. I don't know. Sounds free to me.
Now, what is in store for us in game number 3? We haven't seen that happen between these two in a while. We haven't seen it for AL since Split 1, obviously, when they lost to Weibo in 4 games down in the lower bracket. They've not lost to this team in the regular season so far. So the best of 3 seemed to be their strong suit, just like it was when they took first place at the end of the first split of the year. Anything up their back pocket that you're looking at in terms of priority? It seems to me that the bot lane has continued to be a very important side of the map in terms of who is able to get out in front.
I mean, Corki and Yunara are still up in this series, so 2 of probably the best AD carries currently in competitive. Always some Elk Lucian, especially. Now, you say Elk Lucian, I was not very impressed with his last Lucian game. There was a couple of moments in the early game where I'm watching him with Lucian passive, and he's like auto-canceling on level 3, and I'm like, stop. Just stop doing this.
Man. It's okay.
That's true. That is true.
No, but these lane-dominant bot lanes have been very important. Obviously, the Jhin Karma, the fact that Karma got through the ban phase in its entirety, also something that we didn't necessarily bring up on AL's side. But it seems like whoever gets pushed down there ends up having a good time in this series so far. Elk and Hong need to be in a position where they are snowballing, not getting snowballed upon, if they want a chance to take this series. Jiejie wins player of the game. It's been a story of the jungler so far. 0-0-19. Out of 22 kills, that's pretty good.
That's exactly how I like my junglers. No kills, no deaths, all assists. That's an all-star jungler right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, didn't steal anything away. Although Hong got a couple of them down in the bot lane. Nicely done by Jiejie. Both junglers really setting the pace, setting the tempo here for this best of 3, which has proven to be rather exciting. AL going to play their first game 3 of Split 2 in just a few